Johnny, question for you.
Yeah.
If I was somewhere in Kokomo and it wasn't our house and it wasn't the flower shop, where would I be?
Easy. Humble home.
Yes, you're right. You guys, listen up. Humble Home is my absolute favorite place to be for so many reasons. No matter what I am looking for, I always check Humble Home first. Clothes, shoes, toys, decor, furniture, makeup, they literally always have something that I need. They have brand name items for cheap. Their inventory is constantly changing, so it's part of my weekly routine to do a Humble Home walkthrough. You absolutely need to stop by. I promise you won't be disappointed. While it is a discount store, it's not your average discount store. It's clean, organized, and everything has its place. I get zero anxiety when I go in, unlike other discount stores. And no matter what you're shopping for, a home project, gifts, home decor, even seasonal decor, they will have it. They are open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m., and Sunday from noon to 5. You can follow them on Facebook at Humble Home Kokomo and watch for new items every single day. And for our Lafayette, Indiana listeners, I have exciting news. They are opening a second location in Lafayette soon. As soon as I have the details, I will let you know their opening date. Get excited. I'm Kayla Keith, and this is Missing Midwest, a true crime podcast about those that have gone missing. Today, we are talking about the biggest national park search and rescue in history. This is the story of the disappearance of Dennis Lloyd Martin. Hello?
A historic case.
Historic. It's the biggest search and rescue effort in history, in national park history.
Whoa.
So out of any national park, this is the biggest one.
Crazy.
It actually changed the way that they do search and rescues, actually, because they learned a lot from it. So we're on episode 3 of Missing in the Mountains of Midwest. What did we say it was?
I don't remember. You had a bunch of M's and I just said go with it.
Mountain Missing.
Yeah.
Something. It's not the Midwest. But I thought I had 3 M's.
But we're probably going to Tennessee sometime in the next year, so.
Missing in the Mountain. I thought I had 3 M's. What did I call it?
I don't know.
Missing in the Mountains. Seems too obvious.
Anyways.
So this is episode 3.
Yeah.
You have any announcements?
I do.
Oh, boy.
Subscriptions
Yes.
to Murdered Midwest. $5 a month. There's over 40 episodes. At this point, if you paid $5 for this month, you could listen to one every day and not finish in a month. Well worth it. I know there's been some issues with getting them to be able to listen on Apple. If you normally listen to Apple and you sign up for the subscription, shoot us an email and we will immediately get you the steps to make sure that gets taken care of. And then all the other, like iHeartRadio and other platforms that we use, like it's no problem for those.
Yep.
Spotify is an issue, which I usually listen to it on Spotify, but if I want to listen to the murdered ones, then I just hop over on iHeartRadio. It's easy.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that $5 subscriptions. We send you some stickers. It's a good time. We put a lot of work into those episodes, and we're closing in on 50 there. I think yesterday's episode might have been 42.
Yeah.
Up there somewhere like that.
A lot of episodes.
Yeah. No doubt about it.
It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Between the two, we're closing in on 100 for sure, which is wild to think about. But there you go. That's my announcement. So.
I have an announcement. I actually made new designs for sweatshirts because I'm feeling fall.
Oh, okay. Fall's coming.
Fall's coming, and I got some long sleeve tees and some sweatshirts coming at you. So keep your eyes open for those. I'll be posting links to the merch store so you guys can buy some merch.
Wicked.
Laura Brust I know her from the Chamber. She was
shout out.
Yeah, shout out to Laura. She listens to us, and she said she was actually was on her way to the small business. There's like a small business of the month ceremony that the Chamber does, and she was on her way out, and a person was walking in and like asked where she was going, and she said she was going, and it was actually Bo Digital won this month. And when she said Bo Digital, the person that she was talking to, he was like, "Oh my gosh, I listened to a podcast and they talk about Bo Digital." And she was like, "Wait, is it Missing Midwest?" And they like had a moment, and then awesome. We had a moment, and it was great. And I was like,
and then I had a moment when Kayla was telling me about it.
Yeah, I was like, I literally like ran home and told Johnny about it. It was like, one day I hope to play it cool when someone tells me.
Oh yeah.
But it's not there yet. Not there yet. It's far away for me because it makes me really happy when people talk about it and find each other, a fellow Missing Midwest fan in the wild, or
Pretty
you
cool.
wearing your shirt in the wild.
Pretty cool for sure.
Anything else? Have any life updates? Nothing really crazy's happened to us. Knock on wood.
Right.
no missing bikes in our yard, or no missing people, no bikes.
Just preparing for school start.
School starting.
Yesterday, I guess today, are the last episodes before school year has officially started. Because next Friday, I'm teaching.
Yep. We'll be back to teaching. The boys will be in school. Me and Raylan will be doing our thing with the event space, the flower shop, the podcast, whatever else we decide to do. We might bake. We might craft. I don't know.
Whatever you guys got going on.
Okay, I am ready for the case. Like I said, this is the third missing person case in a row that I have done from the Smoky Mountains, Appalachian Trail area. It's a huge area. I don't know why I'm doing it per se. I just
feeling it.
I was feeling it. I ran across it was an article about like all these possibilities, and it went from everywhere to like Bigfoot to a serial killer living in the mountains to crazy mountain men, and I was like, and I had heard of some of the cases before, and I was like, I'm gonna do them.
All right,
let's do it.
Here we are.
And so we got a little mini series going on, missing in the mountains.
Let's go.
Missing and murdered in the... No, they're all missing. The ones I've done have been missing. Maybe we'll do a couple murdered in the mountains after this. I don't know. So today we were talking about Dennis Lloyd Martin, or Denny to his family. He was known as Denny. He was only 6 days away from turning 7 years old when he went missing. He was actually on his first family camping trip. This was a long-standing tradition in the Martin family. And every Father's Day, all the Martin men would go camping together, which is like so cute and wholesome. And so this trip was the first year that Dennis was allowed to attend. And so it was on June 13th, or in 1969. Okay. So it was a while ago. But they made their way to Russell Field. I didn't even look this up because it's just like it's not like a town. I don't believe it's just like an area. Okay. And so I didn't do like the whole Dollar General thing. Gotcha. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. If you're from the area, let me know what's there, if anything. I believe though it's just like when you're in this. What
state did you? It's in.
We're in Tennessee. Yeah. But like when it's like I believe it's just one of those things. Like in the Trinity Lynn case, when they're like, oh, we're meeting at like Andrews Bald. It's just like this like area that all these hikers. It's like the hikers use the landmarks a lot.
I get it.
These outdoorsy people, all you outdoorsy people that actually hike, they like have like these different like points to like tell where you're at hiking. So I believe the Russell Field was just like a camping area. Okay. And so that's where they were at. And so they were there and they spent the night there. And so it was Dennis, or Denny as they called him, his older brother Doug, he was 9, and then his dad was named Bill Martin and his grandfather was Clyde Martin. And so they were all camping together for Father's Day weekend, and then they met up with another family member named Carter Martin and his 2 sons who were from Alabama. And the group spent the night together, and then the next day they hiked to Spence Field, and there was like a bunch of other Martin family members there. I don't know if they just met them for the day or if they were also camping there or whatever, but they met up with like more family members that day. And so Dennis spent the day playing with his brother and his cousins, running around, hiking, playing, having a good time. Around 3 p.m. that day, the kids got an idea, okay? They were going to prank the adults. And so they were all huddled up together and they made this plan, and they were going to they were hiking, and they were going to run up ahead and like circle around and jump out and scare the adults when they went by. And so they came up with this plan. The adults knew exactly what was happening.
Sure, I was literally about to say, I guarantee the dads were like, I know what's happening. Or the adults, yes.
The adults knew exactly what was happening, so they were just watching this whole thing and like preparing to like do their like fake surprise thing. And so they watched as they ran up ahead, and Dennis circled around one way, and Doug and the 2 cousins circled around the other way. And so they kept walking, and they knew they were going to like jump out at him. And Dennis's dad said it was less than literally minutes later that the boys jumped out to surprise them. Okay. And they jumped out, and they did. I can only imagine that it was just like this. Yeah. The kids were probably freaking cracking up. The parents were like, oh my gosh, I'm so scared, But then Bill noticed that Dennis wasn't there.
Short amount of time has passed.
Bill and the adults there literally said they saw Dennis and the boys walking down the trail. Dennis went one way, the boys went the other way. They knew what they were doing. They were just hiding until the adults got up there. Less than 5 minutes, he said. Like, literally minutes that Dennis went missing. which is one of these things in these cases that just like freaks me out because Bill, as soon as he noticed, he's like, whoa, wait, Dennis didn't jump out with you guys. And he told his brother and his dad, like, hey, Dennis is missing. And so those 3 adults immediately started looking. So, like, we'll get into the theories later, like, what possibly happened.
You're not even panicked at that point. It's been 5 minutes.
No. And so Bill, like, starts looking in the area, and he's like, okay, like, Dennis, like, you can come out now. Like, the surprise is over, you know. And, like, he can't find him. Bill ended up, like, walking that trail, like, 2 miles to look for his son while the other adults were looking as well.
Going through stuff. Like,
After that, he's so at 4:30, like this was at like around 3. At 4:30, they're like, he's freaking gone. I don't know how.
That's wolf.
I don't know how, but like he's not playing high. He's not like not coming out because he only had less than 5 minutes from the point he was at to like walk. So they like knew that like he hadn't walked more than how far could a kid get in 5 minutes, and they had already checked that area.
I'm like as you're saying this though, I'm trying to think about that like
I'm literally
100 yards.
That's what. Well, I'm picturing like, okay, if you take a 6 or 7, let's call him 7, put him in the woods and be like, okay, you have 5 minutes to get as far as you can in any direction you choose. They covered that area looking.
It's not that long of an area.
No, it's not that big of an area. And so they're like, he's not here. We're in 69 here, so they don't have cell phones. Like, so they are 6 miles away from the nearest park ranger station. So the 3 adults, they hiked the 2 miles on that trail looking for Dennis, and they're like, he's not here after an hour and a half. And they're like, we're going. So it took them until 8:30 to hike to the ranger station, and they hiked, like they hauled butt. Man. And they got 6 miles, and they got there at 8:30 and reported him missing to the park rangers.
So like no waste of time.
No, not at all. Literally, not even minutes wasted.
Yeah.
His dad and his uncle and his grandpa were looking for him within minutes of the last time they saw him, which is absolutely sickening to me.
Whether you're a team of 1 or 1,000, Bo Digital can help make your marketing goals a reality.
Let's be honest, most of us who run our own businesses need help in the marketing category. Either you have no clue what an algorithm is or you just don't have time to mess with it, Bo can help you with that. They offer an a la carte menu of marketing services where you can take what you need. It can be your website, your socials, newsletters, or even blogs. Bo can help you take some of it off your plate and free up time for you to focus more on the things that you love. I personally use Bo Digital in my own small business, and I love them and the team that they have and the knowledge that they possess is far beyond anything that I could do on my own. If you're looking to grow your business, you have to put a bow on it. You can reach out to them on their website, bowdigital.com, or on Facebook, BOWE digital.com. So, they're looking, they report him missing. The area that Dennis disappeared in, I was reading a bunch of reports on it, and they said it was, like, rough. They said it was full...
Like dense or animals?
Dense.
Okay.
Full of deep ravines, slopes, ditches. They said you could not hear people talking from 20 feet away. That's how dense it was.
Really? Wow.
So they were like, if he fell somewhere...
Almost screaming.
we can't hear him.
Dang, that's scary.
They said you could hear like water running from like.
I remember you said that in the Trini case, and I was
and
like,
that's one of and that's one of the things that has happened in Trini. Lynn, they said it was just so dense, and then in the last week's episode too, they just said this forest in the Smokies is just more dense, and we talked about it like than you could ever imagine. Like I'm sitting here looking out the window, and all I see is just like
I see 2 miles over cornfields.
I can see 2 miles away of bean fields, and it's like I can't picture how somebody could go missing in less than 5 minutes. But until you've actually seen this area, I don't think you can possibly wrap your mind around it. And so, I mean, I've seen it, and I still can't wrap my mind around it. You know. I think that the only people that understand are actually like park rangers that actually work in this area and see this thing, because that's just crazy to me. But anyway, so shortly after, this is so sad, shortly after they started that surge at 8:30 with the park rangers, it started raining, and it freaking dumped 3 inches of rain.
Oh my gosh.
By morning.
So like not
3
like torrential
inches
downpour.
of rain that they were trying to...
Now drowning is a hazard for sure, no matter where you are.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't say anything about that, but yeah, you're right. I'm sure that the rivers and creeks and stuff are just like way higher than normal. So they said that made it extremely difficult to search.
I can't imagine it.
But then also it the fog rolled in. It's literally the Smoky Mountains.
Mountains.
The mist, they said, was so dense the next morning, and even the days following, it was just so freaking hard. Like, they just couldn't find anything. Searchers and people came from all over to search for Dennis. They reported that every inch of a 1 mile radius where he went missing was covered. They said, no doubt, they covered every inch within a 1 mile radius. No doubt, they said.
I mean, and I'm saying a 6-year-old, there's no doubt he didn't get that far by himself.
Right?
Like,
At the
if it's
peak,
that dense.
that's what I'm saying. At the peak of the search, they had 1,400 people in the woods looking.
That,
Yep.
just think
Like
of
I
how
said,
much space that
making
takes
it the
up.
biggest search in history. However, you're thinking about that 1,400 people looking for my kid. That's amazing. It actually was detrimental to the case.
Because there's no evidence.
They were not trained. Many of these people they had Boy Scouts, they had volunteers.
The initial thought was he was lost, not taken, I'm sure.
They said one of the police officers that was involved in the case, I don't know if he was a police officer or a ranger, I don't even have his name, but he was quoted as saying that, like, everybody had the attitude of, like, he'll be found within the hour.
Yeah.
And then
I get it.
And then the next hour they're like, oh, we're gonna find him within the hour.
Sure.
So they weren't like thinking of evidence and stuff.
Yeah.
They were like, we just gotta find this kid. So 1,400 people, they're like, we're gonna find him.
Yeah.
They never did. And so they said many people that were untrained on that search probably passed over things that could have led them showed them what happened.
That being said, though, could they do more damage than 3 inches of rain?
Exactly. Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
so actually, they had found a footprint by the water, and it was one barefoot and one shoe footprint.
interesting.
And the shoe footprint matched the shoes that Dennis had and were the approximate size, but it was a bunch of Boy Scouts that had found it, and they thought that the footprints were from each other, and like they didn't even think about like one being barefoot being weird because like none of them had bare feet. And so it had already also been searched by other people. So they just assumed other people had seen it. And so they didn't even say anything about it until like later. And then by the time they actually mentioned it and the police went back, these footprints were gone. And so it was just like the untrained, they were not trained.
Yeah.
And they shouldn't have been
Right.
out there.
That's
But they
tough,
didn't
man.
know.
It's tough. You're
you
in the
know?
assumption he's lost, not taken.
Exactly.
And it's like, yeah.
And so it was just a very unorganized search. The best intentions, obviously, but very unorganized. But they said they had hundreds of rescue club crews coming in from like 4 states away. Hikers, clubs.
I mean, those people are trained.
The Boy Scouts, the Sheriff's Office, firefighters, community members. They said the local colleges were sending out students, police, firefighters. They said they had 57 rescue squads from 4 different states away. Military, 60 Green Berets.
What?
Yes, came out. They were on a training mission in the area, and they aborted their training mission, and they sent them all out to help search.
Wow.
Yep. The Red Cross showed up and provided food for everybody. Helicopters and canine units were out. By the time the search officially ended in October, like that, spoiler alert, they found nothing. The search was called off that October officially. Searchers had logged, are you ready for this? 13,420 man hours were spent searching for him. From that many people.
I feel like, I mean, I'm surprised they even looked that much. Like, at some point, you'd be like, he's not
200
here.
hours in the air were logged for helicopters. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
According to reports,
Like I said, you could have quit halfway through that and I wouldn't have been mad.
Yeah,
Like, that's
right?
crazy.
The final cost of the search was $50,000, which in 1969 would have been equivalent to $415,000 today that it cost to do that search.
Wow.
So by June 22nd, he went missing June 14th. By June 22nd, they had covered 56 square miles. Like I said, more than 1,000 searchers, 1,400 at the peak of it. June 26th, they cut back. And then a search was completely abandoned on June 29th. And then it was officially cut off on September 14th, 1969.
So how?
As of 2024, it's still the largest search history of the Great Smoky Mountain, of any of the national parks, the Great Smoky Mountain National Parks. So after this happened, after it ended, Dennis's father actually offered up $5,000, which is equivalent to like $42,000 today.
Wow.
For reward.
Wow.
a few years after he went missing, I think it's ginseng hunter?
Yeah, ginseng.
Ginseng, which I was looking into what ginseng is. Apparently it's like, I had to call my dad to ask how to pronounce it. And I'm only like 50% sure it's ginseng, but it's like apparently a root and
Yeah.
it's protected. Do you know anything about it?
I mean, just from a little bit, when I heard you talking to your dad, I was looking it up on myself, and it's a root that people like to go, kind of like mushrooms, that people go
Okay.
like ginseng hunting, but
I asked my dad if you
do
could
it all
hunt
the
it.
time.
I was like, it's like you hunt it? And he was like, well, you don't hunt it. It doesn't run from you, but you have to go find it. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, good point. But anyway, a ginseng hunter, he actually called a friend of his that was on the search. He found what he said were the skeletal remains of a small person when he was hunting it. It was in Big Hollow, Tremont. But he didn't tell anybody because he was illegally hunting the ginseng and he didn't want to get in trouble.
How come you can't just be like, I was just going for a stroll?
That's what I'm saying. Couldn't you just be like, I was hiking,
I was just hiking, not looking for any particular route or anything.
tracking a bear, or like literally
Yeah.
anything, camping, hunting, hiking. And so he ended up calling his friend and telling him, and his friend got a couple, like they ended up going back out there to search, and they couldn't find it because he kept it to himself until 1985.
What the heck?
Right? Jerk.
That makes me think he's not telling the truth.
I don't know. So the Martin family was really pulling for the FBI to step in and help them here. But the FBI will not help on a case unless there is clear evidence of foul play. And they said that there was no evidence of foul play in this case. And so...
Except for what about the 56 miles where the kid is not in?
Right. But still, evidence-wise, there's nothing. Are you looking to buy or sell in 2024? Let Amber White help you find your home sweet home. Amber is a local realtor to the Kokomo and Howard County area, and when I say she knows her stuff, she knows her stuff. When we decided to move closer to family, I literally messaged Amber and told her I wanted to sell my house, and then later I want to buy this house, and she made it all happen. Buying and selling is such an overwhelming process, but Amber seriously took care of every single step and eliminated all the stress for us. Her knowledge was invaluable, and while I say I never want to move again, I know exactly who to call if we decide to. Follow her on Facebook at Amber White, Realtor /broker with Carrie Gruhl and Associates, or you can give her a call at 765-865-1118. So the Martin family, they believe that someone took Dennis that day.
I do too.
They said, so the afternoon, this is the reason that the family believes Dennis was actually taken that day. The day that he disappeared, a man named Harold Key, he was 45, okay? And he was from Carthage, Tennessee, and he was camping with him and his family. Were camping near Rowan's Creek in the Sea Branch area. When his family and him, they all heard it, and he described it as, quote, an enormous, sickening scream. A few minutes later, they all saw a rough-looking man moving stealthily through the woods near where they had heard the scream. He said he initially thought it was probably a moonshiner. He was not aware that the search was going on for a boy that had been lost at this time, but he said the man did have a bundle of what looked like cloth or clothing thrown over his shoulder when he was going through the woods. Stealthily. To me, stealthily means like trying to not be noticed.
Yeah.
And so he just thought it was somebody trying to not be noticed because he was doing something illegal, like the moonshining thing or whatever. But when they got back from their camping trip several days later, they saw the news, and they weren't that far from where Dennis had went missing. The FBI, however, when they looked into it, they determined that I think it was like 6 miles from where Dennis went missing. And they said there was no way between like the timeline of when Dennis went missing and when the family saw this happen. They said there was no way Dennis could have gotten 6 miles.
I mean,
I'm not putting it past some creepy mountain man that like knows the woods to get really far really quick though.
That's what I'm saying.
So I don't know, but that's why the family believes he was taken that day.
Huh. Man.
So there are 3. So that's all the information we have on this. So there's 3 main theories here though of what happened to Dennis that day. Okay. So the first one is the obvious, that he became lost and died from exposure or an injury that day. They said probably not long after that first night. They said the temperatures dropped down to like 45 degrees that night. and he only had on shorts and a t-shirt.
And then the 3 inches of rain.
And then the rain was very cold. They said this is the most probable theory. Park officials say this is the most probable theory. That, again, they go back to, if you have ever been in that area, they say, like a park official was quoted saying, you could disappear within a couple footsteps and never be found, which blows back to blowing my mind here.
Yeah.
I cannot fathom an area that one could disappear in a couple footsteps and not be found. Like when they were talking about like the dad within 5 minutes, those 3 adults, you're telling me, like, you give me this pinpoint of an area where I last saw my child, and then less than 5 minutes and you're telling me I can't find him?
Yeah.
Even if he fell?
That's crazy.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we're talking with some serious terrain here that we just, like, completely inexperienced with.
Can't
and
even
we know
fathom.
nothing about. And so that's, like, the main theory. The second one was an animal attack. Now, a lot of people say this is not possible because they didn't hear anything and they didn't see anything. They said he was 7 years old. It's not like he was, like, small for his age. They said this is a 7-year-old boy. They said it would have to have been a pretty big animal to, like, take him.
And to take him instantly.
And to take him so quickly and not hear anything. However, they said there's bears, there's bobcats, there's wild boars. So they said there's definitely things that could be responsible for it in the area.
But to not make a sound and to not, like, I feel like a bear, like the dad would go look for him and be like, these are bear tracks.
Right. And he never saw anything, or like broken sticks or
5
blood.
minutes is just such a short amount of time.
Blood or pieces of clothing or even him screaming. Don't you think a kid would scream like crazy? However, 2 weeks before in this exact area, there was a bear that had been caught in a wild boar trap. And they said that it was, the wild boar trap actually had corn in it, like that was baited with corn. And they said bears don't eat corn. But in June of 1969, I guess like food sources were like diminished for some reason. I don't know if it was like the weather or whatever, but animals were struggling to find food. And they said this bear was bony and scrawny and it got trapped in the pig trap because it was eating corn, which isn't something that a bear would normally eat anyway.
Interesting.
And they turned it loose in that area. They let it out of the trap. And so it was in the area and it was bony and scrawny and hungry.
I just picture like 400 standing around and be like, somebody's going to have to let that bear loose. Bob, why don't you do it?
Yeah, I know. And so apparently they did though. And so they said they did know there was that bear in the area along with probably many others. So that's second place on probable causes, wild animal attack. And then third place was that he was abducted or taken out of the park by someone.
But even in like just a short amount of time, you'd have
No
to
screaming, not seeing a whole nother adult human. His father and his family, this is the theory that they agree with. Like I said, that Harold Key guy, he saw that.
not, especially by now. I mean, it's been.
So they said this man was like shaggy and like rough looking.
Like woodman.
And so that's one of the, back to that article why I started this, like they were saying there's like these
mountain people
that set traps and like take lone hikers and stuff, cannibalism and stuff. I don't know if I believe in it. I mean, I'm not on the Bigfoot train, but if we're talking that you can disappear within a few footsteps, then you can't convince me that there's not people like that might be living in there that we just don't know about.
I mean, I don't know. None of this makes sense to me. You know, like to me, I'm like, okay, if it was an animal, you would have heard something, you would have seen something. It would have been easier to at least tell the story.
Yeah.
To not have this, nothing found, no bones, nothing found in 56 miles, like a human had to take him.
I don't know. It's crazy.
But then again, if they checked 56 square miles, don't you think they would have found some like crazy woodsman village or something?
Apparently not if you can disappear within a few footsteps.
I don't know.
So this case, it completely changed the way national parks conduct their search and rescues. Like after this, they reevaluated everything and they said that the Dennis Martin case changed everything for them. Prior to Dennis Martin, they said they were not familiar with like regimented search and rescue efforts. And they went out in the woods and they said they did their best and they looked for him they could, but they said they
like you said, it was like this hour. We're going to find him this hour.
Yep,
like if we have this many numbers, it won't take long.
Yep. They said there was absolutely no rhyme or reason, no systematic way of addressing like where he could be, where he might be. based off of what he was doing when he went missing. Like they said, there's so much that goes into it now, and they have lots of training, and it's actually called last person behavior. And so when they go in to find a missing person, like they actually do a whole bunch of footwork before they even search of like, what was this person doing? And like, what's most likely here?
Wow.
Was it an animal? Was it a person? Is he lost? Did he fall? And they look at the terrain.
Probably a lot of
around,
analytics and stuff
a lot
too.
of it. And they said back then they didn't have that. They were like, oh, a kid's missing. And they just freaking like buzzed in, went looking. And so now they said because of the Dennis Martin case, they are able to, look on the areas, and based on the activity that they were doing in that moment, they have a lot higher chance of finding people and locating people now. And it was the Dennis Martin case that like basically led them to like start looking into this training and like establishing like an actual search and rescue,
Strategy.
Yeah, I guess you would call it that. And so, yeah, that's the case. I mean,
That's wild.
hate it.
Yeah.
Isn't that awful?
That's to be like, he's not lost. He was right here. They can see the dad being like, he's not lost.
That's what
like he's right here.
About
yeah.
it. Yeah. Coming from somebody that, then again, I've never been in that dense of a woods with my family, but like I see my kids playing, and then I see them run behind my house, or I see them run behind a tree, and I think they're on the other side of that tree. But for him to never come back around, it's just heartbreaking.
Yeah. Well, and then to be like, the only thing you think of is like when they first were like, oh, he's right over here, and they went that way. Like if somebody else had grabbed him and gotten lucky and gone the opposite way, like that's the only way, I feel like.
Yeah. So what do you think? What are you on here?
I feel like if he would have gotten lost, or if it would have been an animal, they would have found him in the search.
And
parts
so
of him, something.
Okay, and so that's what I say. But according to everything you read from park officials, they're saying that they might not. Which is crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah. It's hard for me to understand that.
Yeah. That's why. So you and I have to lean, like my crime mind, I lean towards somebody or something in the woods taking him. But from everything you read, everybody's like, probably he got lost.
The fact that they were like about to jump out and surprise him, like this kid wasn't like, I'm going to make a run for it in the woods, or I'm exploring. It was like, oh, I'm hiding over here.
No, and that was the other thing they said.
So
he didn't run off.
Yeah.
Like he was playing hide and seek.
The area in which that he could have gotten lost, even at a dark level of lost, is very small.
So even that though, so you think about that. He wasn't running away from you. He was playing hide and seek. So he has to be in that area right in this very moment.
Unless he was taken.
You would have, like, as a parent, I don't know how his dad didn't just be like, I live here now.
Yeah,
I live in this exact
show me
spot.
where I can get lost and never be found again.
I was gonna say, I'm surprised he's not like I would have just camped out in that exact spot, the last spot I saw my kid. And been like, if you're telling me that he got lost here, and that a couple of footsteps he could have been lost, then I will live here until.
And maybe the family did do that, and that's why they believe somebody took him.
And they searched, and that's why the family believes, because they searched so well.
Yeah.
And that's how I guess I have to think, like, as a parent, if you're telling me, like, I would have been like, okay, I'm going to crawl on my hands and knees as far as I can in this direction for 5 minutes. And then I'm going to go in that direction for 5 minutes, because my son couldn't have gotten any further on his leg than I could crawl.
Right.
And I will not leave until I find something of his.
Exactly.
And they didn't find it.
That's terrible.
Which means that someone had to take it.
Had to have, right?
That's what I'm thinking. I
man.
mean, I'm a mom. He's his mom and dad. And so the Reddit rabbit hole that I went down with people that knew the family, they said the parents were never the same.
I bet.
So they came back and just said they
I can't imagine.
Since passed away, and just like never the same, never found him, never found any remains of him. We're never able to, bury him or officially say goodbye to him. And it's just like, crazy. So that's the story of Dennis Lloyd Martin.
Man.
And that is episode 3 of why you should not go hiking.
I love hiking, but it's maybe not necessarily in the Smokies where you can get lost in 2 seconds.
We can stay right here in Indiana where it's flat.
We'll hike in the cornfields.
There you go.
All right. This podcast is a So.Will.I.Studos production. So Will I.
Stanley Cleaning Company has an exciting new service they are offering, and I can't wait to tell you about it. Laundry. Yes, they will come to your house, and for $15 a load, they will pick it up, take it, wash it, dry it, fold it,
and bring it back to you. This is something I have dreamed about since I became an adult and started doing laundry on my own. Hit them up and get your place cleaned and your laundry done by my friends over at Stanley Cleaning Company. You can find them on Facebook or give her a call or a text at 765-860-3606.